LIEnette claims she's not a long-lost relative of Gollum from Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Debunked! Debunking just makes me feel so good. And remember, LIEnette has stated in court, on the record, under oath, that she only has her Facebook groups to debunk the lies. So, therefore, here at WTH News, we thought we would go on a little bit of a debunking session. For example, LIEnette has claimed multiple times that she was watching her beautiful property since 2018, when it was never for sale. It was never listed. Therefore, she could have never even been watching it. And yet, she comes to Otter Creek, stalks me, messages me, gets me out of my kindness and generosity to come over to the property where she has me trespassing. She's calling me a neighbor. How can I be a neighbor when they didn't even own the property? This is the day where they asked me to come and bring my tractor and move this down tree, where they lied to me and told me that they owned this property. Not only did they not own this property, there was never any permission for me to be on the property. Keep in mind, you've got Jamster on one side of my drive-through sign, you've got LIEnette on the other side of my drive-through sign, and that drive-through sign is now with the underwear bandit who stole it from the fence. The one, the only, wait, what was her name? Called her underwear bandit so
Michelle.
long.
She's another Michelle.
Oh my goodness, another Michelle McCain. By the way, Pickles One Mama Love says, "What the hell's my new neighbors, loving my life, paid for land, building new house, new Jeep Gladiator, and a beautiful baby girl. New beginning, hearts on the mend." I wonder if this is what LIEnette would post this particular day and time, knowing that she got caught in all of her lies and that she has been utterly and professionally debunked over and over and over again. That screenshot I just showed was July 18th, 2021. After the world, no, the planet already knew we were in Otter Creek and LIEnette stalked us here. Now, here's the funny thing. For someone who was watching this beautiful piece of property from 2018, which was never listed then, and nobody would have ever known it was for sale because you can't buy something that's not for sale. Why is it that her home closed? Yeah, I'm looking at it right here. Cancellation, satisfaction, or release, restrictions, and mortgage. November, let's
Scroll
see
all the way
here.
to the bottom.
November 12th. November 12th, 2021. By the way, this is them paying off their mortgage on their home. Again, we can see it right here. November 12th, 2021. They paid $60,000 off on their home. And we can see it right here because their home sold that day. They paid off the mortgage. $60,000 they paid off that day. And by the way, if you want to know what day the property was actually purchased in Otter Creek, guess what? November 12th, 2021. And yet she's come around posting that I stalked her to Otter Creek, that she was looking at property well before I ever was. She had me illegally trespassing on a piece of property, as she illegally trespassed on a piece of property that she had no contract, no ownership of whatsoever until November 12th, 2021. Can we all say it together? Debunked. We can dig into a lot of debunking, but let's talk about the aspect of 3 homes that are on my property, on my road frontage, North Otter Creek Avenue, and a driveway. Oh, that's right. They call it my makeshift driveway. Yet, I don't think it was exactly makeshift. As a matter of fact, in March of 2021, I actually created an entire video exploring as I'm parked on my driveway, never knowing LIEnette or Crook up to this day, and today wishing I'd never have known them. And yet, here it is yet again. Let's debunk! As we show a clip of exploring a piece of property with a driveway that existed decades before they ever arrived here. This is a fence from what we're told by Otter Creek historians and former owners of the property. There used to be 3 houses back in here. There's supposed to be 3 wells, 3 electrical hookups, the whole deal. Allow me to bring your attention to Exhibit A, Your Honor. These are Google Earth screenshots of my driveway. As you can see here, Jeremy's driveway, where 3 homes were, and LIEnette's makeshift driveway. Now, you'll notice it's sand and it's sand. It's sand and it's sand. Because in rural Florida, we don't put asphalt or concrete down. It's always sand. As a matter of fact, it was my tractor that put in LIEnette's makeshift driveway. As you can see, all of the changes here. Oh, wait, the overgrown driveway, wouldn't that be makeshift to get it to what it is today?
It sure would.
Was it ever a real driveway? Maybe it was a makeshift driveway because it was overgrown. By the way, she's claimed that my driveway that's been there for decades because it was overgrown is a makeshift and never existed. And yet here's hers right there. Here's hers to then here, to then here. The only thing missing is that security, that futon gate security that we all need and we all love. Here we go again. Here's the driveway. We've got one going this way, one going this way. Oh, another one of my driveways. Okay. So I've got my cell tower driveway. I have 4 driveways on North Otter Creek Avenue. Here we go again. Here's another driveway.
That's where Frankie passed away. That's the church lot.
Unfortunately, this is where Frankie Jr. had an accident on an ATV.
You could see his memorial right there.
And passed away right here. This is one of the very first church lots or the church property in Otter Creek. And one of the things I would love to do is actually restore and put up another church building and be able to honor Frankie Jr. as well.
So that's driveway number 3.
All right, here's another driveway, which, by the way, it doesn't look like this anymore. And it's not makeshift either. This is a 4th driveway. Now, this driveway comes all the way back to where I'm sitting now, to the ranch house. The other driveways up front, there is no physical access from the rest of the property because of the vegetation. It's too thick, it's overgrown. There's virgin trees that haven't been logged, and you've got palmetto bushes. And it's not too smart to even try and walk through that because we all know there are those little critters. They're snakes, and those snakes can get you if you're going walking through all of that.
And poison ivy.
Not a good idea to even try to access that property from any entry point except the entry point that exists off the road. Debunked. You'll recall that LIEnette has stated so many times that I got a civil protection order out of retaliation for her injunction. Now, we're going to debunk this, and it's pretty easy, but we got to start at the beginning, which was May 23rd, 2023. This is what LIEnette Preston and John Crook received. You even see it says John Crook, LIEnette Preston. Reason, cease and desist letter. Dear Mr. Cook and Ms. Preston, this is the actual copy of the actual cease and desist that they received. Again, May 23rd. It says the law firm, this law firm, represents Jeremy Hales and his various business interests. And if legal counsel represents you, please direct this letter to your attorney immediately and have your attorney notify us of such representation. We are writing to notify you that you are unlawfully defamatory statements directed towards Jeremy Hales on social media platforms constitutes libel under Florida law. Accordingly, you are hereby directed to, you'll see it right here, Cease and Desist Publishing. Right in the middle there, all capitalization. You can't miss that. Cease and desist publishing all defamatory statements. Now, you understand you have a right of freedom of speech, but that right of freedom of speech is wrong when it includes hate crimes and inducing violence and other things along those lines, which these two have constantly done. So I'm a firm believer in freedom of speech. You love me, you can say you love me. You hate me, you can say you hate me. Don't steal from me, and don't break the law, period. And by the way, those who believe that fair use laws means you can take anybody's content, video, and use it and reproduce it, completely and totally wrong. As a matter of fact, even YouTube put out a video yet. Yes, the employees of YouTube telling everybody to stop stealing. And that's intellectual property. You steal somebody's video, they own it. It's the same as stealing their song and then placing their song in your video. They own it. You can't take their song. You can't take somebody's video. It does not fall under fair use unless you actually have permission and you do it appropriately. And I've yet to ever see anybody on YouTube doing it appropriately, which is why YouTube just came out with a video yesterday, said, stop taking everybody's content and videos. Intellectual law will always be upheld. Okay. So, cease and desist publishing all defamatory statements. In Florida, it is unlawful for authors to post comments and articles in which they take on the role of a keyboard warrior and attack the reputation and the character of others. Written defamation constitutes actionable libel. It has come to our attention that you post defamatory statements regarding Jeremy Hales on various web pages, included, but not limited to, oh, here we go, Otter Creek Friends and Neighbors. Oh wait, she doesn't own that no more. That was just for sharing recipes and plants. Okay, Otter Creek Politics. Oh, Crook gave that one away. He doesn't own it anymore. The Heart of Otter Creek. Oh, that's for me to share memes of Jesus. Okay, all debunked. It's a shell thing. More like it's a hell thing for the Turtles,
It's a
Inc.
smell thing.
Oh, it's beyond a smell thing. As well as other social media platforms. Under Florida law, the defendants that publish libelous statements may be required to pay out actual monetary losses. Keep in mind, she's in federal court for this now, and there will be monetary losses. And they will be forced federally to pay. And I know you're thinking they got no money. No kidding. The federal government is going to seize all property, all physical property that they own, meaning their actual property and their vehicle and the campers and anything else that can be sold and auctioned off to pay. All right. And they may be required to pay actual monetary losses, mental anguish, emotional distress, punitive damages, attorney fees, and cost. If you continue to publish the defamatory statements or refuse to delete posted messages after receiving this letter, your actions will be evidence of the libel. We demand that you immediately, A, cease and desist your unlawful defamation of Mr. Jeremy Hales and George, What the Hales, and other various, including all misspellings, and my lawyer put that in there on purpose because they can't spell anything correctly, including all misspellings, euphemisms such as the YouTubers, the neighbors, etc. B, immediately remove and delete all postings related to Mr. Hales and his interests. C, that you provide us with written assurance within 10 days that you will cease and desist from all further libel directed towards our clients. If you do not comply with the cease and desist demands within this time period, our clients are entitled to use your failure to comply as evidence of interest to libel and will seek significant monetary damages, punitive damages, equitable relief, and in order for you to pay court costs and attorney fees. Your liability and exposure under such legal action could be considerable. Before taking these steps, however, my clients wish to give you one more opportunity to discontinue your illegal conduct by complying with the demand within 10 days. Please govern yourself accordingly. Sincerely, my lawyer representing me at that time, Stan Griffiths. They received...
Should we also mention he used to be a judge?
Oh, yes, he was the judge that Craig DeThomasis replaced. In the middle of the night, this individual, who is now a lawyer, who was a judge, stepped down for personal reasons. And that's what put the governor, Ron DeSantis, in a scurry to find somebody. And frankly, he made a horrific decision and mistake placing the Thomases. On 6/1/23, Arthur Wiggins, Patty Durbin,
The Wiggly Balls,
and LIEnette Preston have this conversation, which is now part of the federal case. You might want to say fartable case, but it is a federal case. Fartable on their side, federal on our side. Arthur Wiggins has this to say. Jeremy's own attorney has said he will not file lawsuit for him against anyone. Patty Durbin goes on to say, Arthur Wiggins, how do you know this? It would be illegal for him to discuss this with you or anyone. Which Patty Durbin is actually correct. It would be illegal. There is no way that my attorney ever had this conversation with Arthur Wiggins, or anyone else for that fact. No attorney can break client-attorney privilege. So this is a completely and totally debunked comment and statement and post. A former judge ain't gonna break it. And he goes on to say, Patty Durbin, don't worry how I know. I just know. And LIEnette Preston says, Patty Durbin, I know for a fact, she goes on to say, I know for a fact that his attorney said that he will not file anything else against me. And I know that for a fact. And people say I repeat myself. And then LIEnette goes, I'm talking about the lawyer who served me with the cease and desist, which meant nothing. My lawyer told me to ignore it.
What lawyer?
All right, so let's play debunk again. She has never, ever had a lawyer representing her, ever, until Silver Scam. Nobody with any brains whatsoever in the legal capacity is going to take on such a mess. And I truly believe, I honestly believe Silver Scam said, you give me $7,000, and that's all he wanted. He wanted the money. He had no idea what he was getting into.
He was going to do a limited appearance.
LIEnette had never had a lawyer. LIEnette never talked to a lawyer that told her to ignore the cease and desist. And if she did, that lawyer is liable for those actions as well, which now LIEnette has broken, yet again, client-attorney privilege, if there even is an attorney, which we all know there isn't. Yet again, this woman is debunked. LIEnette has continued to lie and say that she was the one running to get an injunction first. And yet it was me on September 3rd, 2023, in a live stream announcing that we had already hired representation in Ohio and we were moving forward with the civil protection orders. As a matter of fact, take a look right here. There has been a case filed in the state of Ohio against, there's two cases. There's one case against LIEnette.
Thanks, Jamie.
There's one
Stay
case
tuned.
against John Crook. They will be two separate cases. They will be tried separately, not together. But LIEnette posted, these dates are undeniable. Okay, what does she say? I filed for mine, speaking of herself, on 9/7. You realize 4 days after I announced in the live stream, she filed for an injunction after I had already announced that we had hired legal representation in Ohio. And he filed his 9/25. 7 days apart. No matter what.
17.
Oh, 17. Oh, well, you know, I was doing Mary math. 17 days apart, no matter who gets on here and tries to lie and make it look like these days are not right. They are, and if you have doubts, call the courthouse. It's absolutely open to the public. Number one, that's another misrepresentation and debunked. Anything that has anything to do with an actual civil protection order in Ohio is not on the docket, and you can get no information whatsoever. It's absolutely open to the public. So call the courthouse. Do your due diligence. Don't believe his lies without doing your due diligence and doing your research. Okay, so I did my research. I did my due diligence. As a matter of fact, I even went back to my live stream on September 3rd, where I announced I had hired legal representation. We were filing. We were already in the process. It was already going forward. Now, regardless of whether it actually took in the court on the 25th, I don't really care. about that. The fact is, I hired legal representation, and she then tries in retaliation to get a Florida injunction. She goes on to say, to the Norwegian man. You know, if it was John, she would say, to the Neanderthal man. No, she would just scream. To the Norwegian man that called me all those names. You said you believed the truth if I posted it. Well, now I've posted it all. Can you see the truth? I applied September 7th. For the order against me was applied for September 25th. I don't even want your apology, just to be left alone. And yet again, here we are, debunked. LIEnette, paralyzed to her property, can't go anywhere, can't do anything, and yet Penny asked LIEnette this question, and LIEnette responded. And of course, Marli Huge had to get her words in there too, because she can't leave the house, so she might as well stalk Facebook all day. LIEnette, why don't you apply for the new city clerk position? Well, first of all, Penny, it's not a city, it is a town, but the clerk position. You seem to know a lot about the town and what it needs.
I feel like that was sarcastic.
Completely and totally sarcasm from Penny, okay? And it is a joke, it is sarcasm. And Marla Hughes, who can't even get out of her own house, says, that would be a good idea if she didn't have a young child to care for with special needs. Oh, well, what does LIEnette have to say afterwards? Let's dig into it. Why doesn't she? Well, she says on May 17th, 2023, just days before she's getting the cease and desist, exactly, Marli Huge, who I still yet to this day haven't met. And no, you haven't even come and volunteered. You haven't sent me any money.
Wait, if she volunteers for you, does that make her an employee of LIEnette?
Is she an employee? Is Marli Huge an employee of LIEnette? Okay, exactly, LIEnette says, I have a 3-year-old daughter with a life-threatening metabolic disorder. I have an ex-husband who is, from what we know, is dying.
Wow.
Dying. How is it that everybody in this woman's life, including her, is dead? But they're not dead.
But they're not dead.
I see dead people all over Otter Creek, across the street.
In the turd purgatory. There should be a
From
turtle.
being septic and having 2 bacterial infections in his knee that has gone to his bloodstream and his brain. I don't think that's bacteria that went to his brain. I don't think there ever was a brain. We don't know, so I can't take this job. Plus, I'm sorry, but I'm disabled. I'm disabled. Okay. And by the way, anybody who's actually disabled, I'm sure you truly are disabled. LIEnette isn't. Okay. And so I have no more disc in my back at all. I have a degenerative bone and disc disease, but not like every other human being. Of course, mine has absolutely eaten my bones and deteriorated my disc. And it's a genetic problem that we all have in our family.
So is dying.
Yeah, that is a genetic thing. It is definitely hereditary in her family, death. And those ex-husbands must have hereditary death as well, and anybody around her and animals, but yet nobody's dead. And yet she seems to be the only one on disability, even though this disability is hereditary. So the funny part is this. Russ the Sus brings her in to clerk. And by the way, she screws all of the minutes up. And in the last meeting where Crook and LIEnette show up, Russ the Sus thought he was going to get one over on the entire town. And he was going to declare himself mayor. He was going to fire Belinda. And he was going to hire none other than LIEnette.
But she said she can, and so did Marla.
LIEnette said that I was
She
here
can't take any
on
job.
official business. But here we go yet again. LIEnette showed up because Russ told her she was going to get hired as the clerk, which would have lasted, what, maybe 11 minutes before she freaking destroyed everything that Belinda and Madam Mayor Therese and Deanna put back into place. And here we are again, debunked. What does she have to say about meetings? Well, she has this to say. Let's cover it. It should be interesting, especially since she's breaking civil protection orders, the law, showing up to meetings. She says it isn't that people are lazy, don't want to go to meetings. I unfortunately have a 3-year-old with a life-threatening. Man, between her life-threatening and everybody died,
Her mom
and
dying,
Thomas's
John
Mark
dying.
Feather, 15
She
minutes.
died.
Life-threatening metabolic disorder. Going to meetings would be a terrible thing for me to have to do and risk getting sick and bringing that home to my child. Highlighted area right there. Going to meetings would be a terrible thing for me. So being able to watch the meetings online would be an absolute, a positively thing for me. I hope we can get it going so that I'll be able to watch the meetings. Very important to me. What goes on in Levy. Yes, not Levy, but Levy. I don't know where Levy County is, but I'm going to fake cry right now like LIEnette. In Levy County. And what goes on in Otter Creek. Okay. It would be just a horrible thing if she showed up to the meetings. If she was showing up and breaking the law, which she continues to do to this very day. Yet again, debunked. Oh, here's a copy of LIEnette's written minutes from that meeting where Russ asked her to fill in as the clerk. And she was there, even though it would be a horrible thing for her to show up. And it would be just an absolutely positive thing in Levy County if we got
I thought
them
she
online.
couldn't take a job.
And here's the funniest part. She actually puts in here, Russ makes a request for LIEnette Preston to act as temp clerk, which never, ever, ever happened in that meeting. Zim nominates Deanna West. That happened. Gail seconds. That happened. And then Don Severino suggests an accounting firm. That happened. Russ making a request for LIEnette Preston to be the temp clerk. Never, ever happened. Debunked. June 30th, 2023, Wanda Brill asked LIEnette a question about mask. And as you can see in the screenshot I just shared with you, no mask. As a matter of fact, they've been filmed, they've been photographed. Is it a photographed? Pictured. You know what? We'll go with pictured, but I like photographed a lot better. That's my new word, photographed. All over the area in Levy County. No mask. Never mask. She even posts pictures of them around crowds. Watermelon Festival, no mask. Town Hall, no mask.
When she left the child in the car by herself in a running vehicle.
No mask. No mask. Walmart, no mask. She was wearing a mask, ? Says Wanda Brill. Being around people so dangerous, as you explained, LIEnette. There were a lot of people there. LIEnette goes on to say, Wanda Brill, we don't let anyone within 6 feet of our child. Well, there's one that we have to debunk because LIEnette has constantly said it is her child, not Crook's. She is a single mom. All right, and when her and I go to Walmart or whatever, we always wear mask. Okay, complete, total lie. The diabetes is so strong with this one. We always wear masks. I protect her as if she could break at any minute. Oh, that's real healthy for a child growing up. Then she goes on, Wanda Brill, there's certain times of the year that it's better to wear a mask. And sometimes it's okay not to. And right now, with the para-influenza RV, SV, I don't think she can spell, whooping cough, now it's the time to wear the mask and the flu. We wear it everywhere we go. Why don't you believe me? Despite there being evidence everywhere they go, they're never wearing a mask. Wanda Brill says, LIEnette Preston, I have COVID. It's no joke. I always wear a mask wherever I'm away from my home. And LIEnette says, well, me and the baby do too. Boop, boop, go, go. Choo, choo. And I cannot force everyone around us to wear a mask, but I can, and she can. And yet again, they don't. Debunked. Wait, nobody is allowed around this child within 6 feet if they're not wearing a mask? And yet, LIEnette Preston said herself, well, COVID is back, and it's at an alarming rate. From what I hear, it may be at town hall, so beware. Oh, now it's at town hall. Okay. And yet, she's been at town hall almost 99.99% of the time with no mask. She wore the mask one time when she filled in taking minutes because we called her out on never wearing a mask. And then she goes, we're back on preventative meds, and her and I wear masks. John still will not. Oh my goodness.
What?
Do you mean she allows John to be within 6 feet of this child with no mask? Yet again, debunked. Don't worry. She has a great excuse. On July 13th, she says, I can explain why I wasn't wearing a mask at the meeting. I can tell you exactly why. And this is no joke. She literally goes on to say, so I guess I better clarify why I didn't have a mask on at the meeting to protect the child. It's not a conspiracy, people. I simply was running late and I couldn't find one. Okay. You treat the child as if she could break at any time. But if you're running late and you can't find one, instead of staying home and making sure the child is safe because the child could break at any time, you literally just go, I'm going to the meeting. Doesn't matter. Do you understand the hypocrisy, the crap that comes out of this woman's mouth? Nick goes on to say, it really doesn't matter. Face diapers do nothing for anyone. Don't worry about it. And LIEnette goes on to say, Nick, we have to worry about it. My little girl has a glutamatic acidotic type 1. It's a metabolic life-threatening disorder. If she catches the flu, influenza, a virus, has a fever with it, anything can cause a fever. It can make my daughter die.
Unalive.
Ma'am, what proof do you have that she will die? My daughter won't die. Okay. Or become brain damaged or get dystonia. And there's so many things. I'm not about stroke, so we have to wear them. We have to wear them. It's unfortunate, but the nurses and the doctors wear them for a reason. So our doctors have told us to do the same. We do 9 times out of 10. 9 times. 9 times, guys. 9 times out of 10 they do. The other 10 times, the 10th, no, they don't do. They just say, you know what? Let's throw caution to the wind. We're fragile, can break at any time. Let's break it like it's 1999. I don't have it all the time, and I can't grab it. I mean, that's what happened at the meeting. It sucks, but I had to go do it. No. If your child literally has a life-threatening disorder or disease, and I'm talking to all the viewers out there right now, you understand going to a meeting is not an option if you don't have a mask, which yet again proves 100% she is a pathological liar. She's been yet again debunked. Oh, you're going to have fun with this one. The stalker claiming to be stalked. As a matter of fact, she was at Winn-Dixie and she saw the Grangers. You know, Madam Mayor Therese, her husband Brett, and claims they stalked her there. Now, she was already doing the exact same thing to them as she'd been doing to us all online. So a little paranoia? No, a lot of paranoia. Which Angela Gleason says, no way they can say it was coincidental. Oh, really? You can't say it's coincidental? Because is it coincidental that LIEnette just happens to be at the sheriff's station every time I'm there? Is it coincidental that LIEnette's at the post office when she's illegally showing up? Or at the town hall meetings? Or flicking me off at Walmart? Or? It's a small town. People go places. You're going to run into everybody. So
well, this is the woman she called the R.
Yeah, this is the woman she calls the
R-tard.
And you can fill in the R word. Mm-hmm. No way it can be coincidental, as it just happened to be going to the same place as you. Oh, Winn-Dixie? Yeah, how dare somebody go get groceries the same place you do, when the only places to get grocery are in Chiefland. Oh man, can't be coincidental. I'm starting to believe what LIEnette said. All right, no way they would be going all to the same places. And Marli Hughes says, "Good gravy." That woman is made of nothing but gravy. If you've ever seen her. Why? 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 LIEnette, tell me why. I need more gravy. I gotta have gravy. And LIEnette goes
with
on
her
to
catnip.
say, yeah, I think
Gravy
that's pretty
with
much her
catnip.
diet, gravy and catnip. And LIEnette goes on to say, this is the biggest freaking lie. It is so ridiculous. So ridiculous. July 13th, 2023. I now have installed a dash cam. And I now broke out the GoPro so that the GoPro will be on my body 24/7. And when I need to use it, it'll be there. And I have plenty of batteries. And this is the best part right here. Trust me. Trust me. Well, there is no trust. They do not have a dash cam, and nor has she worn a GoPro body cam 24/7. As a matter of fact, the only thing we've ever seen is this, and they've constantly been doing this. They were just doing it yesterday, the day before that, both of them filming people on my property, which, by the way, is legal. And so, did I call the sheriff? Nope, but they did. It was pretty hilarious. Is she wearing a GoPro 24/7? Does she have dash cams? Nope. You haven't seen one single clip from either. Debunked. Good gravy. Remember when LIEnette was in court crying? Fake crying. But Judge, all of his fans are contacting me. And she gave all the fake emails and all the fake this, and the judge threw it all out. And yet, it was LIEnette Michelle Preston, well, that's just a couple of her names, that publicly posted, anyone have any questions you want answered with the truth, not his lies, meaning me, Jeremy Hales. His is me, okay? Anyone have any questions you want answered with the truth, not his lies? You can ask. I'll choose if I want to answer it. This woman literally, continually invites conversation and people to communicate with her. Yet she's gone into court wanting it to stop and trying to say that everybody that contacts her and says anything, that I'm liable for it. The court proceedings, yet again, debunked. Guys, good gravy. Instead of assuming all of the lies about me, why don't you just contact me? Here we go again. Why don't you just ask me? Which then Joy Fitch down at the bottom says, rumors can make you dislike innocent people. Don't judge people from what others are saying about them. Be wise. Get to know them for yourself. Then form your own opinion. The one talking to you may be the one that needs to stay away from. You think? Everybody should stay away from this woman, and yet she continually begs contact from my fan base, from the viewers of What the Hales. She begs them to actually contact her. I mean, is it just me, or does debunking make you feel so good? Anybody want a little chit-chat? You know, just a little chit-chat. Here she is saying, hello, hello. That's a little redundant. I've decided to spend the day tomorrow welcoming our voters at Town Hall. So if anyone would like to ask any questions or chit-chat, I will. This reminds me of Laura Mott. When Laura Mott actually ran for commissioner of Levy County, she put out this whole thing. I'll talk to you even if you're lonely. Send smoke signals. And then a resident of Otter Creek put on her Facebook page one question. What have you done for Otter Creek? And you know what Laura Mott did? She didn't answer it. The smoke signal went up. He was lonely. He wanted to chat. He wanted chit-chat, just like LIEnette. She blocked him for asking the question, what have you done for Otter Creek? And Laura Mott blocked him. As a matter of fact, I think this is a good question for me to ask Laura Mott when she gets seated and sworn in at the next meeting. You stated publicly for Levy County that you will even answer smoke signals. But when you're asked the most important question there is, what have you done for Otter Creek? You block people. What do you think LIEnette did? Do you think LIEnette actually chit-chatted? No, she had a child in a animal little thing, cage, on almost $100, She wishes $100. 100-degree heat index day. Yet again, debunked. For well over a year, this woman is claiming she's got a lawyer for this, she's got a lawyer for that. And then she'll put out public posts. Does anybody know a lawyer that will? And she never has ever had a lawyer until Silver Scam. Now, the funny part is she's being sued in the federal case. Defamation, extortion, tort against my business, and a multitude of other things. And so is Crook as well. So what does she publicly post? Well, I'm well aware I don't get a court-appointed attorney. Okay, and it goes on. For civil cases, wow, too bad I'm smarter than you. Give me credit. Hold a second. She wants credit. She's also begged for a court-appointed attorney. Before Judge Craig DeThomasis, she filed a motion to make me pay for her free attorney. And then she goes on to federal court and files a motion for a free attorney. But just keep this in mind. Wow, too bad I'm smarter than you think. You don't give me any credit. Oh my goodness, I feel so debunked. Here's that federal order right here, begging for an attorney. LIEnette Michelle Lacey, Alexis Preston et al. Defendants. Defendants pro se have moved for the appointment of counsel in this case. In their motions, defendants claim they are unable to afford counsel. It's well established that a civil litigant has no absolute constitutional right to the appointment of counsel. And the list goes on and on and on. And what happened? Completely and totally debunked! September 25th, 2023. LIEnette saying she just got off the phone with the clerk of courts in this such and such county in Ohio where Jeremy Hales lives. He claims he had a court hearing this morning against me for an ex parte order. Well, I'm sorry to say he does not have a case against me at all whatsoever for anything. He's a liar. What does she think? Her diabetes jumped over the fence? What do you expect John Crook to do with his leg is wrapped up to his crotch? Jump over the quack fence? Oh, well, maybe her diabetes. She thinks maybe it came over here. He's a liar whenever he opens his mouth, he lies. It's a shame that he does this and that you followers believe him. Since Ohio is a one-party consent state, I was able to record the call. So again, another lie debunked. How many of you need to be debunked before you guys stop watching him and giving him your money? Obviously, we got that ex parte. Not only the ex parte, we got a 2-year permanent, which we're pushing for 5 years and for all the firearms to be taken away. So for LIEnette to state that I'm a liar, that she somehow debunked me, let's back up a little bit. First of all, you cannot call the Ohio courts in regards to civil protection orders and have them release anything to you. If you're a party, it doesn't matter. They will give you your information through the mail, whichever way they decide to get that information to you. For the judge in Ohio, she FedEx everything to LIEnette. And so how does it feel to be LIEnette claiming you're debunking somebody and yet you just got debunked? Good gravy. Remember when LIEnette said she didn't see George at the Otter Creek post office? Well, there's the Otter Creek post office.
Tiny post office.
Okay, so let's talk about parking, because you've seen it through the windows. She intentionally, deliberately, to intimidate, parked right here, okay? George is parked right here. She knows all of our vehicles. She's identified them in all court documents. And so George is right here, right there. LIEnette's right here.
In the handicap.
How in the world, and by the way, the only way to get there is to drive here and then go right by George's vehicle. How in the world, first of all, I was going to say, how in the world could you not see her when you have to pass her? But the next thing she's going to say is, I'm blind. Ma'am, what proof do you have that you're blind? I'm not blind! Debunked! How about we talk about the illegal aspect? Not the legal, the illegal aspect. Not Marla trying to justify the illegal aspect. Not Shark trying to justify the illegal activity of leaving a child in a running vehicle in the state of Florida. Here is the statute. Right here, 2023 Florida statutes, leaving a child in an unattended vehicle. All right, so let's see. Unsupervised in a motor vehicle, the penalty, the authority of law. Number 1, a parent, legal guardian, or other person responsible for a child younger than 6 years of age may not leave the child unattended or unsupervised in a motor vehicle for a period of excess of 15 minutes. That's if it's not running. B, for a period of time if the motor of the vehicle is running. No period of time if the vehicle is running. If the vehicle is on, as it was, it is illegal to leave a child in the vehicle. Why? Because children get out and they create accidents and people die. It's illegal and it's pathetic. It is grossly pathetic for individuals such as Shark, individuals such as Marla, to try and justify this act when somebody could have literally been hurt or even worse, died. It is illegal on every aspect of what she did. Yet again, debunked. The most concerning part of this, after you get past the fact that somebody could have actually died, is that these individuals are talking about sleeping all the time.
Napping.
They're talking about kid sleeping all the time. You figure out the other, when your kid goes to take a nap. And so it is actually Marla Hughes that has incited this fear online. And so LIEnette Preston says, yes, they scare me, all caps. And Marla goes, and they should. And here's the funny part. Marla Hughes, who wants to justify what LIEnette did, right here, in writing, screenshot forever, which all of this will be used in court against her. Her day is coming, and she is yet to stop. Which, great for us, not so great for her. I don't think the YouTuber will child sleep the child, but his cultists concern me. There are some comments that seem ready to do just that. And now Marla wants to publicly state that it was okay what she did,
because
which
the
number
AC was running.
1 is against the law. Number 2, she's the one inciting that anybody following her, cultist of what the Hales, would actually child sleep this individual at any time. But now it's okay for some reason. Debunked! Good gravy. I hope you're ready for this hereditary of death, because LIEnette has quite a few things to say here. So let's dissect this a little bit. I hope she's getting the idea now. Just because someone says something about you doesn't mean it's true. All right, well, I hope everybody in the planet is getting the idea. Just because LIEnette runs to a corrupt judge and ineffective and a judge who should not be on the bench doesn't mean he's right or it's true. It's point blank, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do to defend myself, but I never asked him for money. Of course, she posted it. We can debunk that in a moment. Ever in my life. It's all in his brain. I've never threw garbage on the road. I never beat my meat. It says child, but I had to change it because of YouTube. She goes on to say, I've never done rugs. Okay, you see it right there? I've never done rugs. The next statement that debunks her I've never done rugs. The last time I did rugs was 23 years ago. I was old. I died on my couch. True. Absolutely true. Okay, here we go. I've never done rugs. Last time was when I was 23. Debunked. I died on the couch. Yet here I am at 62, and I'm still typing this. Debunked. Can I still go on? I mean, should I even go on? Maybe I should say what she says. It's all in her head. It's all in her head. Who knows which head? Who knows which personality? I've never touched a rug since, even though she's posting her actual rug tests, which are positive for stuff. Maybe she ate a muffin. I've never touched a rug since. I'm 6. Well, we know there's no rug in the shed. I'm 60. I don't drink, and I go to church. She doesn't. She's paralyzed to her property.
The child can't be around people.
Child can't be around people. She does not go to church. I can confirm with 100% absolute she does not go to church. Yet again, debunked. How do I know? Because I have cameras everywhere. Oh, by the way, if she was at church, they'd be on camera as well. And I guarantee you, anybody that ever saw her at church, including a private investigator, would send us all the information. But let's keep going on. But because of the baby, I can't go. Not yet. I'll be back. I'll be back. And I love God with all my heart. I adopted, if you actually love God with all your heart, you would think that a person that would say something along those lines would actually live for God, would actually do things for God, not the insanity. Now, as we see, there's supposed to be evidence in your life if you actually have a relationship. There's supposed to be evidence, fruit bearing from a tree. Now, when Jesus talks about this in the parables in the Gospels, he's actually talking about the non-Christians. You will know them by their fruit. But the same applies to Christians. You will know them by their fruit. If your friends aren't coming up to you and going, man, there's a major change in your life. What is going on? Why are you different? Well, it's pretty evident nothing has changed in your life. Let's just keep going on. I've adopted a child who is going to be unalived. No, she adopted a child, and that's even up for debate, for a paycheck. And I saved her life only to find out she has a life-threatening metabolic disorder. Man, goodness.
It just rolls off the tongue.
Again! And I'm saving her from that. I'm giving her a beautiful home.
The shed.
But when I got here, Jeremy Hales has turned it into a Hales hole. That's what Crook wants. He wants my Hales hole. Debunking makes me feel so good.